All right, who's excited to talk about branding?
This guy.
I'm excited. That's not excited. Why are you excited? What do you mean by that?
I just what I mean by that, I just feel like I don't do a really good job of branding myself in places where I have the opportunity to.
Okay.
I have a Facebook group that I've grown for my development, like almost 90 people, and I still struggle with branding, putting myself out there, and just I don't know, just overall, putting myself out there and what that should look like. I'm always drunken monkeys. Is that too much? Is that not good enough? A little bit. So that's why I'm here.
I think that's the biggest fear everybody has, is like putting yourself out there for everyone to see. Yeah. And I think that's like the biggest hurdle. Set this up. I'm gonna record myself because I'm gonna get better at teaching this. This is something I'd love to talk about. See if this works. Yeah.
Used to.
That afterwards.
So I was cooking dinner with Lily last night, and what she said to me was, branding is everything, but the most important brand that you put on is yourself. And I said, Julie, I don't know where the hell you got that, but I'm going to start the training with that quote because it like made an impact on me. This is me. Many of you guys know me. While I was putting this presentation together, it made me also self-reflect a little bit and figure out why I'm so passionate about teaching this to agents. I have somebody coming in at 2 o'clock. We're going to work on this for the next hour. When I was a kid, I was super shy, introverted, awkward, didn't know how to talk to girls. And I think there's such a parallel between self-discovery, personal growth, and building your identity in business and your life. Like, I don't think there's a difference between what your brand identity is, what your business identity is, and what your personal identity is. I think it all flows together. I think the coolest thing is when you see somebody that is unapologetically themselves, and they walk around with confidence, swagger, they talk how they want to talk, and either you accept it or you don't. And for those people, like, they attract the type of people that they want to be in business with. They're not chasing everything. They're working with the people that directly they want to enjoy working with. And I think we can all agree we'd rather work with people we want to work with as opposed to people we have to work with. What's that?
So one's out.
So this is this is like branding so deep, it's such a loaded topic. And I was thinking of like, where do you even start with this? And I want to do this, whether it's once every 2 weeks, once a month, where it's we talk about something and then we also have a workshop on it. I didn't print out my homework for all of you guys, but I'm gonna have to elevate it for you guys leave today. But I have 2 pages of homework to answer questions to really like figure out what your identity, what your brand is. You're gonna send that to me, and then we're gonna work on this together. So today's goal is we're gonna take it slow. The one thing that I want you guys to leave here with is the idea of stop being so transactional and be a lot more personal. Stop being transactional, be more personal. What does that mean to you guys? What comes to mind when I say that?
Personal level, get to know them, instead of like a lot of times you focus on getting them the house or selling the house, but focus more on getting to know them personally.
But also when you market yourself, what does it mean? I'll show you an example in a second, but I think there's so much noise in real estate where all of you guys are doing the same exact mass marketing. And it just blends in, there's no story to it all. And some of you guys are just like, sort of you're boosting yourself up. Like, it's an ego thing where I want to show you guys how much business I did. And it really is like aimed to realtors instead of the actual consumer. So branding, there's psychology involved, there's influence involved, there's creativity. I want to keep it simple. Today's goal, let's think about being less transactional, more personal. Our agenda, we're going to talk about what is a brand, why I should give a shit, marketing versus branding, what you should do if you want to fail, creating your brand, and then we're going to look at a couple of case studies, examples, and then I want to leave time at the end so we can just collaborate on this. Something about branding is an analyst. This goes back to what you said. Sometimes you can't see what your own superpowers. Like most of us can't really identify what makes us special. We don't see it in ourselves all the time. It takes a group, and I've seen people do this on social media. It's like drop one word that describes them best, and like all that's how a lot of these agents, individuals, are crafting their own brand. I see something special literally in all of you guys, and I could talk about it with you one-on-one if you like. But you're not always able to see it yourself. So, what is a brand? Somebody throw me out some ideas when first comes to mind. When I say what is a brand? But more specifically, what is a brand? Why do you say Nike instead of Reebok?
It's something that is more, takes up more mind share.
What's a company that takes on mind share?
Yeah.
Is it their position on your
honor appealing?
on appealing? Exactly.
Would you say that there's a logo usually involved?
I'll show you in a second. Well, I'll tell you exactly what a brand is not. A brand is not a logo. A brand is not a color scheme. I'm pretty sure you said that at the beginning. Color scheme?
Yeah, well, that was like, not that is the brand, but like, I always see brand is like, what do people think of when they think of you?
Yeah.
So, as far as like, I'm a visual person, I've been in art, like, I'm a 13-year artist. So, for me, color and visuals are really big. So, if I am like walking down the street, if I see like Kelly Green and some of the Eagles, if, when people see a certain like, the colors I use, people think of me.
Yeah. I think it's
So that's just the how you, relate some that kind of synesthesia type thing.
yeah.
I
I also think it's it's a piece that ties your brand together.
Mm-hmm.
The color scheme is not necessarily your brand.
Yeah, that's not the whole thing.
It's not a logo, it's not a color scheme, it's not social media posts, it's not being everything to everybody, it's not defined by words, it's not defined by titles, and it's definitely not something you work on once. You don't leave here today and all of a sudden you have like the most relevant brand. But you have to start planting seeds and then grow to the extent that you grow personally. What it is, it's a reputation, an experience, it's a story, it's a long-term asset, it's an emotional connection with the consumer. Jerry, what brands came to your mind first?
All right, so
You said Nike?
I said Nike.
Okay.
That's so sure.
No. Somebody else give me one.
Adidas.
Macy's.
Okay.
Amazon.
Macy's.
Doms.
Yeah, chill. Seriously? It's a great brand.
So what brands come to mind first?
Sorry, boys.
Jerry said Nike. Oh, I can't give you guys any clues. What brand do you think this is?
Nike. That's Nike.
Why do you know it's Nike?
Because the font.
Because of the font? Are you sure about
Motivation.
that? Okay. So Nike checks all of those boxes.
Yeah.
They have a reputation of innovation performance, which builds trust with you guys. They provide you an experience instead of just a shoe. Active lifestyle, anything is possible. They give you a promise, just do it, which is motivation. They build an emotional connection with you guys, empowerment, perseverance, winning. They tell an amazing story, but they also tell it through others. So the first big athlete that they ever had was Michael Jordan. They bet everything on Michael Jordan, and he became the greatest player of all time. And now we associate Michael Jordan's story with Nike and vice versa. Like they are connected and they always will be. Kobe Bryant, Mamba mentality, Caitlin Clark, the best female athlete out there today. It's a long-term asset. It didn't take, took 30, 40 years for them to build this $100 billion value that they have today. You can't see it down there, but it says their unique value is they don't sell you shoes, they sell you the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Didn't they buy the logo from an old elderly woman?
Yeah, somebody designed the logo.
She drove for like $35 or something. Yeah,
Wow.
it was like, and so like she got stomped too, I think, but yes, I saw that too.
This is one of my favorite ads that they do. Yesterday you said you would tomorrow. What are some real estate brands that come to mind first? You can't say your own.
Berkshire.
Okay.
Yeah, the real estate man.
Relax.
Remax. So you're telling me corporate brands instead of individual brands. And I think Robin Gordon. Okay. I think there's such an opportunity right now for agents to build their own brand as opposed to the corporate brand that's behind them. There's so much marketing out there, there's not a lot of branding. And I'll go through why that's important and what the future of it looks like. But a real estate brand is your reputation multiplied by your reach. Whether you like it or not, all of us have a brand. We all have a reputation. If I walk out of the room right now, my reputation is what you guys talk about when I'm not in here. What people say about you when you're not in the room. What your past clients say about you. Like, that's your reputation. Either it's good or it's bad, but you have one. And every day you're contributing to it. Strong personal real estate brand conveys three things: expertise, relatability, and trust. McCann, the real estate man. Expertise, relatability on some sort of level, and trust. But they could be the best realtors in the entire world. People didn't know it, then they would just be the best kept secret. You can have the best reputation, you can be the best realtor, you can be the best lawyer, you can be the best basketball player. Nobody knows who you are, then it does not matter at all. You're a best kept secret, and that's all you'll ever be. A brand is what people think of when they think of you. And more simply, you are your brand. Aspen, you are your brand. Josh, you are your brand. One of my favorite quotes, this was by Rory Vaden. He said, "A brand is the digitalization of your reputation." Everybody lives on their phones these days. If you go on a date Friday night and you're looking at restaurants or somewhere to order in, what's the first thing that you do? Tom, I know you got experience with this. What's the first thing you did when you went on a date last week?
What, looking at restaurants?
Yes.
Yeah, look at your reviews,
Okay.
top restaurants in Philly or for a specific date or whatever you look for. And then, yeah, you're looking at reviews and how many people are following that restaurant or comments about it.
So the idea of branding has evolved into the digitalization. We live on our phones, we live on social media, that's where 95% of people are influenced by. It's not just your reputation, but you have to be online with it. Either you get with the game plan or you don't. Like, it's not for everybody. Some people are happy with where their business is today. They're happy with the amount of work that they put in. They don't want to adapt to the future. And I'll share some numbers with you guys in a second, why this is becoming bigger and bigger. But why should you give a shit? Like I said, you probably shouldn't if you're happy with where your business is today. We get a new page. Branding is not about getting famous. It's not about clout chasing. It's not anything like that. It's about connecting with more people that you can help and serve. If people don't know you, you can't do business with them. If they don't know who you are, then you can't help them. So branding is the future. Younger generations, 18 to, I think it's 44, are putting more emphasis on personal brands than ever before. And that goes to who they work for, who they hire, and there's even a survey that says like who they date as well. Like, you're always going online to look at people before you actually meet them in person. 74% of Americans are likely to trust, it's the typo, are more likely to trust someone who has an established brand than somebody that doesn't. And it's broken down by generations right here. As you can see, younger as we get is becoming more and more important. Over the next 30 years, who's the 18 to 30 is going to be the most powerful spending consumers. And the forthcoming generation of leaders and trendsetters with the largest spending power over the next 30 years do not consider personal brands a game of vanity or popularity, but a much more critical and essential component of work, learning, and trust that influences their everyday life. This was a very interesting statistic that I wanted to put up there. It's not just restaurants. It's not. This report shows the more trust that is required in whatever profession it may be, the more emphasis that people want to have an established brand. So I want the average American wants your doctor, your lawyer, your financial advisor, your banker. They want them to have some sort of digital brand, online presence. The higher the requirement for trust, the more important having an established personal brand becomes. It's also more profitable. There's a ton of different ways I can go with this. I know Jeff Glover was in town last week, but post NAR settlement, he's been making more money, higher commission rate than he ever did before the NAR settlement, because he's offering a higher level of value than the average realtor. 67% of Americans will spend more money on an item or service that comes from a brand or a founder whose personality, branding aligns with their own personal values. Ask them, do you want to do business with people that think like you, that have the same values as you? And if you're buying something from somebody, you're going to be more attracted than somebody that you connect with on the personal level. And it's the same thing for the clients looking for a realtor. Like they want to see who you are. They want your personality on display on social media. So when you're thinking about how to put that out there, just put you out there. We'll go through in a second. There's like a way that you connect everything to put your personality on display for people to see. And it's not for everybody. Some people don't want to put their personality out there. Some people shouldn't put their personality out there. Not everybody is like built for this. Some people have pretty bad reputations and bad brands. Like you're in a hole. There's nothing you can do about it. What was the statistic? I can see the bottom. Alright, yes, I would spend more money. The younger the generation, the more likely they are to spend more money. I was hoping somebody was gonna have a Yeti in here. Because a Yeti essentially does my knockoff $10 bottle probably does the same thing, right? But people spend more money on companies like Yeti because they brand it a different way than
You gotta share something about Yeti.
Yeah, go ahead.
Alright, so, of course you laugh. Yeah, so I think it's interesting because when you think about Yeti as a brand, a lot of people who they don't sell to buy their product. Right, like Yeti is not being sold to probably most of the people in this room. Their whole thing is built for the wild. Right, so like I say we, other direct operations for Yeti, take care of a lot of their sales, a lot of their marketing, things of that nature. Everything is for people who are outdoors, but yet the brand saw it so much, like their marketing and commercials and things didn't start until recently. Before that, it was just, are you a hunter? Are you a fisher? Like, is that what you enjoy doing? Then this is what you use.
I have a slide on in a second, which I'll talk about. Go ahead.
I wanted to say also, like, my mom says, hey, can you grab my Yeti? Even though it's not a Yeti brand.
Okay.
Like, whereas that power of having a brand, like a Clorox wipe, like a Kleenex, grab me a Kleenex, but it's not even the same brand.
Q-tip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like really cool. Like,
Yeah.
Call Newbert even though
I'm gonna put you on the spot. Can you stand up and introduce yourself real quick?
yeah, sure.
He's been an active agent for what, 3 days?
one day.
Yeah, or 2 days, yeah.
Okay.
My name is Alcides Francis Cheney. Everybody calls me Alcides. Just started 2 days ago. Really like it so far. Trying to get acclimated to everything. I'm sorry I was late. Frank walked by and was like, class. Wasn't the class.
He was here, what time this morning? 7:30?
That's
17:50-ish, something like that. But yeah,
he was here with us earlier.
yeah.
I want to say I signed off this last week or so. Yeah, a little bit before then. Bill Kelly sent me an email just saying how well he's doing so far 1 day in. That was the first time I've ever received an email for an agent that just got started. So keep it up,
Yeah.
buddy.
And some of the slides that we're gonna go through, but I couldn't like, as a new realtor, it's really hard to like position yourself and really define what your brand should look like. But there's a string of questions that you can ask yourself and really like align everything that you do moving forward. You have a great reputation so far because you just started. You have to piss people off, and it's like, how do you continue that throughout your entire career? So branding is important. It accelerates trust. Have you ever met somebody for the first time, but because you follow them on social media, like you feel like you've known them for a long time? Have you ever had a buyer or seller when you're doing a consultation? Like it's a lot easier to convert them if they know who you are. It increases conversion, it's more profitable, and it is the future. All right, marketing versus branding. Let's go into this for a second. I get my notes here. Who wants to tell me the difference? What they think the difference is? Go ahead. I'll do this.
I would say branding is, let me start with marketing. So marketing is like pushing the product to people. and the way that you do that, whereas branding is more of, like, as you mentioned, the idea of the actual
Yeah.
company or product, whatever it is.
That's a perfect answer. But if I go on social media right now, this is most likely what I'm gonna say. I'm not saying these are bad at all. Actually, like visually, these are like great. But I'm gonna see a bunch of under agreements. I'm gonna see just sold, just rented, just sold. Do you really think the average consumer cares about this shit? There's a time and a place for it. Like I think you do need to sprinkle this in, but there's some people that their entire online presence is this.
And people are gonna look because they wanna see that you're actually
Yes.
working.
Yeah.
They wanna see that you're, you know, like, you just, oh, I'm an agent, but then there's nothing about your business.
There's nothing about you.
So, no, but I'm saying like, like something like it's needed because some
It
people
is.
are kind of like, oh, it's all you, but you're saying you're a realtor. So where is the business as well? Like, there needs to be a balance.
This is what I consider like mass marketing. It's supposed to appeal to everybody. So, like you said, marketing is very transactional, where branding is transformative. Marketing gets people to buy what you sell. Branding gets people to believe in your marketing. Marketing's noise. I wanted to add the slide into it, but marketing is also a bunch of terms that most people don't understand. Ben came into my office this morning and we talked about something completely different. But we were talking about market data, how we send it to his clients. Do you really think someone cares like what a featured listing is? They don't know what that is. They really don't. And I think because we talk about this all day long, it becomes so normal for us to have conversations like this. But I could probably come up with 20 different words that like the average consumer really can't relate to. People don't buy houses, they buy homes. Every buyer that you're working with has a dream of what their home is going to provide them in terms of a lifestyle. And too often we focus on the transaction as opposed to the goal that they're looking for. Go ahead, Josh.
Take that a step further though, because they're not buying the house, they're buying the lifestyle.
Exactly.
So people like you, because of your business and what you put out there, is like,
Well, stories sell, facts tell. People want a story. People want to be taken on a journey. Branding has a purpose, it has a story, and it has a passion. So what if, instead of those just listed, just sold images, you did something like this, where you told the actual story of the consumer, the buyer, seller, how you helped them, what their new home is helping them with in terms of their lifestyle. I think Carisha does a phenomenal job with this, and she is also launching a marketing company to help agents with this. But she puts it on display for everybody to see who she is, how she helps clients, the personal journeys that she's on. Like it just attracts people that want to be part of her life. I pulled this one up yesterday. Sharon Levine, she's also starting to get into this a lot as well, where it's, you know, it's not just the property, it's the story behind buyer seller. Tiana, was anybody ever class last week? Like Tiana is the grant queen. She is a specialist. She's an expert with grants. Like that is what she puts out there for everyone to see. People want to be taken on a journey. Going back to what we were talking about, does anybody know who this is? Has everybody read his book or watched his TED Talk?
Yeah.
Does anybody not? Raise their hand. You'll love it. Go watch this. It's 20 minutes later tonight. Start with why. People, I can't see it. Who wants to finish that quote? People don't buy.
I think it's like people don't buy things, they buy.
People don't buy what you sell. It's people buy why you actually do it. And he'll go through all of these types of companies where you are not buying the product, you're buying the company, you're buying a lifestyle. Nike sells a lifestyle, being active. What does Apple sell? No, they don't.
Ecosystem.
Entertainment.
Convenience, user interface.
They're like their iPod thing, right? That's one of the things that Simon House does is, you know, there were MP3 players out before they came out with the iPod. But they didn't sell the fact that, you know, 2 gigs of memory on a stick. Their commercial was 1,000 songs in your pocket.
Yeah.
Like it's a whole, it's a big
When
difference.
Steve Jobs introduced the iPod, then he's like, "What's the pod for?" Does anybody know? Oh, I just figured out what it is. Pull out the apple.
So I'm making a connection here, so these brands aren't only products, but they're usually the best of that product category. Like when you, my mind just clicked when you said about the iPod, there's other iPods out there, other MP3 players out there. The iPod's the best, holds the most, it does the best. Each one of these products, they're the best of what they make and what they do.
I think
They're not the best.
They're not all the best.
I would argue.
They're the best at sharing what they do. So like before iPod came out, there were a ton of different MP3 players that had more space, that hold more songs and all of that. Some were smaller, but they sold the product. They sold how big it was, the size of things. They sold the amount of memory. They sold 1,000 songs in your pocket, and people connected with 1,000 songs in your pocket better than.
They sell you the problem, not the solution.
So is it the marketing?
It's the messaging. It's the messaging behind it. Go watch Simon Sinek's video.
It's
Like,
the why.
they always start with the problem. That's the most important thing. What problem do you solve? I'm gonna get to that in a second. When you're looking to identify yourself, create a brand, that's the first thing you need to answer is what problems do I solve? And if you want to take it to the next step, is what problem do I solve in one word? I'll get to that in 1 second. Anybody know who this team is? Anybody heard of them?
Yeah.
Yeah? No?
Oh, boy.
Something like that? So Coalition Properties Group is one of the highest producing teams nationally at Keller Williams. I remember talking to Keith, or hearing him speak for the first time, and he told us all of this information. 1,700 units sold in the last 5 years. 750 million. I hear this shit all the time. It is what it is. But once they said that they raised over $1 million for charities, that's when I was like, okay, who are these guys? Like, that's unique. That's different. I've never heard of that before. And then I go to research them, and I see everything on their Instagram or website about helping their communities, building wealth in their communities, as opposed to the amount of real estate transactions that they sell. They started with the why instead of what they do. Simple goal, be the bridge to the community for all things real estate, lifestyle, wealth building. Coalition Properties Group is not just about real estate transactions, it's about creating secure, thriving communities that foster growth and resilience. 2024 recaps, everyone wants to share how many deals they did, how much volume they did. They discussed all the charities that they gave back money to. And over 160 5-star reviews on Google. You look at their profiles, it's very little to do with just sold, just listed. It has a lot to do with who they are and how they're impacting their communities. What problems do they solve? And those are the ones that they're answering on their social media. So I know Keith also teaches a class called Creating Raving Fans. From the first moment I heard Keith talk, I was a raving fan. And they are remarkable people. Like they are as authentic as possible. There's been large brands, I think Victoria's Secret is one that I can bring up as an example, that have tried, what was that?
It's a victory.
They tried to go the natural route of, they changed their entire marketing from, what was it called? What were their models called? The Victoria's Secret Angels. And they got in business with different women influential up and coming people. And they did it as a marketing campaign instead of actually doing it authentic. So nobody actually believed it. So they made a big deal about how we're going from the Angels to Megan Rapinoe, and I forget who else was a part of that. But they didn't follow through with it. There was no authenticity behind it. These guys, if you talk to them for 1 minute, like everything about them. Oh yeah, and Jerry's on the team as well. Jerry's their director of expansion. All right, so who wants to know how to actually fail at building brands? Finish the sentence. Diluted focus equals diluted results. This is what too many people are trying to do. We want to talk about every topic. We want to appeal to every single audience. We want to sell a bunch of different business models. We want to put everything out there for everybody to enjoy it. And you never break through the wall. This is something that Rory Vaden talks about really in depth, which I love. If I was going to knock this wall down in here, it's like taking a sledgehammer. I'm going to hit the same spot over and over again instead of everywhere. So what he recommends doing is just become an expert on one topic. Just talk about one topic. That's it. Focus on that one thing, and then once you break through that wall, then you can talk about others. Does anybody know what Gary Vee became famous for? Instead of like motivation and everything,
Wasn't he selling like wine or something?
he was the #1 expert on wine, and that's all he talked about on YouTube forever. And once he broke through that wall, now he's starting to branch out because he had a following and people knew who he was. But if you talk about everything, nothing's gonna stick. Find your uniqueness and exploit it in the service of others. So, different niches that you can look at: first-time homebuyers, real estate investments, luxury, construction, relocation, downsizing, vacation homes, young professionals, renting versus buying, grants. We could like make this list go on and on forever. We could fill this board, but just be super specific about one thing. That's it. Become the expert on one thing and focus all of your energy and all of your content into that one thing. Creating yours is just being more you. So I came up with this. I don't know, I was thinking of a little like brand name for it. I need to change it a little bit, but it's the WPA triangle. Doesn't stick as well, but it'll become better. But you should also do the same thing with your buyer consults and your listing presentations. You're not selling you, you're also selling your processes. So what if, Robin, when you went into a buyer consult, like, this is my process that's going to find us the best home for the best terms. You're not just working with me, you're working with my process. What if you branded that process so you can sell that? So the WPA triangle, I call it, it's your why, it's the problem that you solve, and it's the audience that you're looking to appeal to. Everyone. So step 1. This is on the homework that I'm going to give out to everybody, but what's your big why? Why are you passionate about real estate? What drives you to serve clients? I think you have to become really, really clear on what that is. Because without that, everything else is really tough. There is a cheat code if you want to use AI for this. And I'm actually going to recommend AI for all this. You need to put these 3 things in. You need to put your why, your purpose, your problems, and your audience. You need to get specific with that, but then AI can take everything from there. And it'll give you like 85% complete, and then it's just up to you to massage like the rest of the 15%. But here's a cheat code. So I'm having trouble creating my identity to begin building my real estate brand and identity. Ask me 10 questions about me to help us find this and create it. Take whatever the answer is, ask it more questions. Just go back and forth, and then have it give you a mission statement, a brand purpose, and what it is. AI is making this a million times more simple than it used to be. I think this is the most important one. What problem do you solve? What's your unique value? What am I an expert at? Come up with that one thing. Like Aspen, like talk about at the beginning of this. What can you focus on one thing on? You go look at your past clients, the people that you've served. What's the one thing that ties all them together? Can you figure that out? And then step 3, who's my target audience? Psychologically understanding your client's needs, values, and needs. Here's another quote that I love. I say this all the time. I don't know who originally said this, but you are best positioned to serve a combination of the person that you once were and the person that you're becoming. Nobody can relate to those people better than you can. And I'll give you an example. So this was actually a real agent that I think he partnered with us like 2 weeks ago. Gary and I are doing a lot of these coaching sessions to like discover a lot of information about him. But today we're going to call him Tom. Not a real picture of Tom. That's the Canva generic photo right there. But Tom has 3 years experience in real estate. He's selling 10 homes per year. He lived in New York and Florida prior to coming to Philadelphia, so he had no sphere of influence. When he came to Philly, he bought a duplex, which was his first wealth building asset. And he fell in love with the city's history, cultural vibrance, and personally became connected to the city. So Tom's big why, I won't go through all this, is to educate others on the wealth building opportunities within Philadelphia. The problem that he solves that he can do better than anybody else because he's lived it personally. He's a relocation expert. He's an expert. go to your social media, go to your Instagram, and put whatever it is that you are, put expert behind it. There was also a survey of like the top 100 most impactful titles, like CEO, founder, influencer. The number one most impactful title is expert. And his target audience is families relocating in Philadelphia or seeking a smooth transition in the perfect aligns with their lifestyle goals. So he's just taking what he's been through and turning that into his target audience. All right, so we're going to take what we know about Tom. We're going to build him an identity. He's no longer a local agent. He is a Philadelphia relocation expert. We're going to craft a message. We're going to build him a mission statement. Instead of helping clients achieve their real estate goals, he's a dedicated expert helping families uncover the wealth building opportunities that the Philadelphia real estate market offers. I did this on like probably 5 to 10 minutes on ChatGPT, so you can get so much more specific with this. He's going to create an avatar who the perfect client is that he wants to work with, and he's going to turn those ideas into action. Get your messaging out there. Use ChatGPT for content ideas, how to tie all of your marketing together. You can create your 2025 marketing plan in about 5 minutes using this type of model. So I went into ChatGPT, I said, give me 50 questions that my target audience is asking themselves right now. If you're a first-time home buying expert, plug that in and ask to give me 50 questions that first-time homebuyers want to know right now, and maybe too scared to ask their realtor or professional or family member what they're Google searching the most right now. Give me all the questions that first-time homebuyers are asking themselves. Give me 50 topics to create videos on social media based upon my expertise and target audience I'm looking to help. Give me the question, the answer, and the solution, the perfect caption, and then the hook to gain attention. It'll give you everything. It'll give you the play. You can give me a 52-week marketing plan to appeal to my target client based upon my expertise and experiences. So all of a sudden, now we're starting to brand Tom a little bit. 5 things I wish I knew about in Philadelphia. 3 mistakes every first-time homebuyer makes. Top 4 appreciating neighborhoods in Philadelphia. And we can do this, we can go on and on. I actually say we should have gotten more specific with this, but this is just like a general outline of how to start doing this stuff. Newsletters. Based on my target audience, potential relocating clients, give me 12 newsletter ideas for each month of the year. That's for future clients, it's for people that are in his database that he is not transacting with yet. For people he has done business with, I hate using the term past clients because they're never past clients, they're always clients. Create a similar newsletter with things that they want to learn more about. So now he's got a newsletter. Now he's going to start building quarterly workshops where you can do them online. And you can invite his target audience to. And whether people show up or not, it really doesn't matter. We're going to record those. We're going to upload it into YouTube. And then there's an app on your phone called Opus. We can put that hour video in there, and it'll just search for what the best clips would be. It'll create it itself. And it'll give it a score like, hey, this one is like an 85% viral rating. So you can go talk into the camera for an hour about whatever topic it is that you're an expert on. Opus will take that clip and just turn it into videos that you can post. Here's another example I love to share. Does anybody know Brittany Nellis?
Yeah.
You guys asking me, you don't know her? Nobody else? So Brittany Nettles joined KW Philadelphia, I think this was 2016, 2017. She was in the office every single day. Her mentor was Jack Barry, I believe. But Brittany Nettles loved food. She was young in the city. She loved coffee. She loved running. And I think you were at the office when she first got started, correct?
I came, so she joined 17, I came the next year after her, and that she did 6 million her first year in real estate too, because of these things, these 3.
So there's building a brand, and what she did was also build a community around that. So she wanted to find others that love to run, love coffee shops, and she was the center of that community. She took everything she was doing and just put herself in the center of all of it. So she created a community. She was the group leader of that community. She did outreach to the community consistently. This was before anybody else was doing this sort of thing on social media. She was doing restaurant highlights, coffee shop highlights. She was becoming like the mayor of Fishtown, essentially. She was building a whole database of renters because that's the type of client that she related to the most at that time of her life, and first-time homebuyers. And she consistently followed up with them until they bought their second home, until they had a family. We gotta have her production in a second. Gotta go back to that slide. This is her trajectory of the first 5 years in the business. But everything about her, all the marketing that she put out, really, all went back to who she was as a person.
Yeah, she started off as she would do the Instagram blogs and she had a food page. And like an influencer?
No,
But she wasn't really an influencer.
there wasn't an influencer at the time.
Yeah, she wasn't that big, but everything was about food places because she just loved food. So she was going to places and posting food. She had a thing for bagels and breakfast food, so that's what she did. But she started she loved the room. So she literally would run every morning, up and down like the school pool and things like that. And they ran the same trails, and they would always end at a bagel shop. She'd buy bagels and get bagels for the people. And I gave her a chance to talk, but she used the things that she loved that other people loved as well, to build that person connected and be able to have meaningful conversations and grow a business. It was 100% organic.
86% of clients said that they would use the same realtor again in the future. Does anybody know what the actual number is of repeat clients? 12.
That was about 10, I think.
12%. Because they forget who you are, or you just don't fall in love with them. So what Nels does, I think I get this email literally every single week. It has nothing to do with real estate at all. Until the bottom of it. But she gives a little bit of a recap on what she's doing in her personal life, what she's reading, what she's watching, the quote that she's pondering, what I'm cooking, what's happening locally in Philadelphia. Britt McLaughlin taught a class on newsletters about a month ago. And I go to these two to figure out what I'm going to do on the weekend before I look at visitphilly.com or stuff like that. This is my now I know what's going on in Philadelphia because I get this email every single Friday. She doesn't do it all herself. She has an admin that works on this. So.
Does she use MailChimp?
I'll get you that answer.
Does she use MailChimp?
Honestly, it doesn't matter what you use. As long as you're using something to send your people once a
I
month.
used Command,
Yeah.
I used to use Constant Contact, now I use Command.
Yeah. Connect with JP. Let him kind of unlock your potential with commands. Everybody in your database should be getting that, the bi-weekly neighborhood nurture. Something like this once a month. Doesn't have to be as detailed as this, but keep people updated with what's going on in your life so that they look at Rada instead of the realtor that I used at one point or the realtor that called me 2 months ago. Got 2021, Nettles got married, had a baby, and moved to Bucks County. So her branding has to change, right? Our branding evolves the same way that we do. So she I said visuals, I'm not going to get into it that much, but this is just an example. 2024, she stopped. Actually, she does do the same exact thing with coffee shops, running, food, but she's built a community of other women in Bucks County. So every day, I think there's some sort of lunch group that she is a part of, but she's appealing to other young mothers in Bucks County. So instead of young professionals in Philadelphia when she first got started, now it's young mothers in Bucks County. Because she's just taking who she is and who she appeals to and who she wants to connect with the most. So I'll leave it with this. Branding is bringing your passion to your business. Bringing your passion with your business. So give me some ahas. Some things you're thinking about. What are you thinking about? What are some ahas?
I was just about to say, you don't have to be the best agent
As long as your message is great and like your branding is awesome, like you'll easily stay on top of mind with all of your clients. But you don't have to be like the best agent, like everybody like Michael Can or anything to get business.
Yeah. I think you have to be the most, you have to be an expert though in that one thing that you're going to identify. Going back to when I asked you guys like who the first realtor was, but that comes to your minds, like if I were to go to your database right now and pick out a random name and I said, hey, can you recommend a realtor? Would they say Josh? Would they say Jerry? Like, would they say any of you? And if you don't think they will, back to the rest stuff. Yeah, think about what your past 3 clients, like what they would say about the experience they had working with you. Is it positive or is it negative? What would you like them to say about you? I wish I had my homework. I'll have Ella print it out before all of you guys see it. But it'll give you about like 14 or 15 questions to just kind of ask yourself and plug that into ChatGPT and just like help connect everything together. So the next time you post a just listed, now you're at least thinking like, hey, how can I connect this with the actual consumer as opposed to just being transactional? How can I put myself into this a little bit more? Building a brand, it's not easy. It's simple, it's just not easy because it takes time. But I think you guys can all start building an identity. And that's it.
What about a client that didn't have a good experience with you in the past? Because I had some bad experience with clients where we still had settlement and things like that, but it just was like a roller coaster of emotions. And so with them, I just end up just not keeping in touch with them because I know they probably don't like me to have them.
I do it anyway. I stay in contact with them anyway.
You're still a realtor.
Yeah.
I keep in contact.
Slow down. Yeah.
Yeah. That's when I would do my
You can tell when you learned from them.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Rob, where did this client come from? Online, randomly?
cold phone.
Cold call.
Yeah.
So
My God.
sometimes you have to work with people that you don't want to work with again in the future to like understand who you actually want to work with. But it's a learning experience.
I've had situations like that before. I've been like a photographer for 8 years, and I've had situations where I've worked with people that are not easy to work with. So it's just bad. But you kind of have to just take that chip on your shoulder and then learn from it and be like, all right, let me keep moving. But I don't know if I'm just talking to other people about it. You should stay in contact with them because I don't know about that. But yeah.
Yeah, think about this. What are you an expert at? Have to go back and really like sit down and kind of brainstorm it and then manifest it as well. Put it on your Instagram.
I love that you said, like, look at your past, because that kind of helped me think about my brand totally. It's just everybody that I've worked with in the past year, with the connection between them.
It's your influence.
Right, and what did I do to like make it good for, each experience, or every single one, what's the connection there? How will I tie that into me being an expert? So that was a good aha moment for me. And I think also just being your authentic self and really using that, because I feel like with real estate, like there's so much going on. You see so many other people on social media, and you don't want to be like them, but you're like, that's a great idea. But I think just remembering, just be your authentic self. Don't try to, jump into a niche that's not really yours. And try to tie that into your people and who you help to kind of really range yourself. So I like that. I like that you mentioned something.
Rip off and duplicate.
Yeah.
If you see something that you like that
Right.
other agents are doing that tells the story of who they are, the people that follow you are not the same people that follow them. So even though like I see all of your content and like, everyone's similar videos and pictures, like the people that follow Rob are not the same people that follow other people. They may only have one realtor on their timeline.
There's been like what 5 or 6 different Spider-Mans now. Still Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's still very much the same story, similar scripting. It's just different personalities with each one.
But if I give you guys the homework, and you start to actually like fill it out and look into it, and like really think about it, you send me the answers, like we will all sit down, we can do this one-on-one, we can do it in a group setting, and we can like really go from having on paper to like how to actually follow through on social media. I will schedule any time of the day to do that with you guys. Sorry, I'm not fucking